Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. My name is Juan Londoño and today we have another product review. With us today is the fabulous and fantastic Switchpod. So what is a Switchpod? According to the box, it's a minimal handheld tripod. Now, even though this isn't really an unboxing, I'm going to show you what it brings because all this really did was come inside another box. So this is what it brings, right? It brings this really cool case and you open it up, whoop, and this is the Switchpod on the inside. Can you see anything in there? Does it even show you anything? Oh, that's a little better. Okay, so it's a beautiful tool for photography, and we're going to talk about its pros, its cons. Is it worth the money? Let's get started. Before we move forward, two things real quick. Get your water, tea, coffee, whatever it is you like. Stay hydrated. Sip along the video. Go get your stuff, pause, and come right back. I've got mine, as you can see. I'll see you soon. And the other is, please like down on your left, subscribe down on your right if you like these types of videos, if they teach you something new, and share them, please. Don't forget, when you subscribe, hit the little notification bell. So because this isn't really a complicated tool, we're going to talk about three things. Function, and that includes how it's built as well. Advantages and disadvantages. That's basically it. So let me start with ruggedness or not ruggedness, right? So we're going to open the box again, as you saw. Right? Not a very complicated thing to open. Very nice box, actually. It's got the little magnetic things, so it stays closed. Really cool. And once you have this beautiful thing in your hands, you just reach into any of these grooves, which I can't see. You reach into any of these grooves and you basically pull it out. Okay, that's it. So put the box aside. Right off the bat, I can tell you this thing is aluminum if you're from Europe, or aluminum if you're from the States. Very precise feeling, feels compact, feels just heavy enough. Feels really good in the hand, just like it's a well-built metal tool. Build quality is just simply excellent, really. I mean, if we're going like how many stars out of 5, this is a solid 5. There aren't going to be any doubts when you hold this thing that it's not built right. So just off the bat, look how slim this is. They show it in the ad for it. It's like a penny high, like you can stack a penny. So it's the height of a penny, and just feels really good in the hand, right? This is kind of like what you put your camera on if you want to film yourself, selfie, and then it opens up and it's a tripod. But we're going to go into that next, not right now. Right now it's just build quality. Build quality is excellent. All of it is aluminum, and the part that connects with your camera or with a ball head mount is rubber. This little thing here is rubber. And it just makes sure that when you put the camera or the ball head on there and you tighten, that it just tightens really well. Also rubber, I'll show you this, is these are the feet, by the way. You can open these, right? It's a tripod, so. And at the bottom, you see it has got little rubber stops so that it doesn't slide around on glass, on marble floors, on anything slippery. I find that very useful because I work around a lot of glass. So even this table is glass. So the other thing that's really cool about the way this is made is you see the little screw at the top here, so you can tighten your camera. Well, it brings a thing that you turn. So you don't have to turn the camera or the ball head. You can do that on many other tripods, the little stands, but this one actually has a knob that you turn. And so you hold the camera here and then you just turn and turn and turn, or unwind if you want to take it off. That's a wonderful feature, okay? So 5 out of 5 for build quality. Function, let's talk about that next. How it opens and closes. Look at this thing. This is really cool. You put your finger in here and you just kind of like swing it open like a switchblade, and it's open. That's why it's called the Switchpod. Ha! I discovered something new today. So really cool. It doesn't really lock into place. Maybe that would have been nice. You know, I didn't put that on as one of the disadvantages, but maybe that's a good one. It doesn't lock in place, but most of the time you're going to open this, put it down on the table, on whatever you're working on, and it's not going anywhere. But, you know, that said, would it have made sense if it had a little lock, like a tick, you know, little click in place. That would have been nice. But you know what? It closes right back again. And the cool thing is, for some of this function, there are magnets in here that keep it closed. So that's a good thing. Once you close it, it's not wobbling and opening up in your hands and in your bag. It actually stays closed. So very nice, very nice. So like I said, there isn't much science to this, right? You put the camera or a ball head on here and you screw. You open it when you need it open. You close it when you need it as a selfie handle, right? I'm trying to make sure I'm in the picture here. Or is it better to go this way? Oh, maybe it's better to go this way so you can see. So we're going to talk about advantages and disadvantages later, and this angle of this thing is going to come into play. There's a reason they made it like this and not like this. Now, this is a Manfrotto. It's about 20 bucks, 25 tops. This is a wonderful little thing. We're going to introduce it in a minute only because we're going to make some comparisons, right? This is $100. The Switchpod is $100, 99 American dollars, right? And, you know, I was going to discuss that at the end, but it's okay to throw it in there. This is $20.25. And we're going to talk about, just when we talk about the disadvantages of this, how this has an advantage that really this one could have had and doesn't. So let's move in. For advantages, obviously this thing is metal. Everything else that you grab is going to be like a thick plastic. Nothing wrong with that. Feels very good. But this is metal. Feels good. Every part of this is metal. You drop this on the floor, get your feet out of the way because this is going to hurt, right? So it's 1 pound, so it's not very heavy, but it's going to add a little weight to your bag. The rubber stops, as I mentioned, both on the top where you put the ball mount or the camera, and at the bottom against, you know, the table or surface. Those rubber stops are fantastic. Very helpful. I love them. You can't really remove them. I guess you could if you force them off, but I don't want to force them off. They're nice. They work. Sleek. Definitely sleek. Now there's a disadvantage that comes with that later. We'll talk about that. But this thing is sleek. If you have a bag that has a pouch for your laptop, and to tell you the truth, when I go shooting, I don't take my laptop. I'm shooting. I'm not editing on the fly. I don't do that on my computer. So everybody's different. I know that, and I'm not judging. But I have a whole pocket that fits a laptop that's empty. So I could put a folder in there with my taxes, but why would I take that shooting? Or I could put this in there, and this fits right in. Just goes right into the slot. And then I close it, and I'm good to go. And so the other advantage is these little magnetic stops, which just, magnetic inserts, which keep this thing closed, right? I love that. Love, love, love things that are well made, things that are thought out. Another advantage, by the way, is I didn't even include it in here because it's so obvious, but this doesn't have it, right? So let's talk about it. These grooves, right? You got these grooves here for your fingers. Your fingers hold this really securely. If you have a DSLR on here, yeah, it's going to be hard to hold that for more than a minute. But a DSLR with a good lens, oh boy, you're going to have to use it as a little tripod stand. But if you want to do a selfie with any type of camera, it's going to hurt after a while anyway. But this just grips really, really, really well, right? Now, there's another advantage, and I guess I didn't write it down in the advantages because I was going to talk about it as a function, but really it's an advantage. So let's look at this Manfrotto, which I love, by the way. And this thing, when you put it away from your face, if my hand to my face is 3 feet, then the camera to my face is 3 feet. And if my lens is like a 35mm equivalent on a full frame camera, this is going to be tight. I would almost want another 5-6 inches away from but I can't extend my arm. It doesn't work that way. It's not a, you know what I mean? Yeah. So how do I do it? Well, enter the Switchpod, right? Look at this. Here is where I hold it. Here is where I hold this one. This one has another 5 inches on this thing, right? So at least 5 inches, maybe 6. So when I hold this, now it's completely out of the frame. Look where this thing is, right? So my hand, look where my hand is, and look where the camera is going to be mounted. It's another 5-6 inches away from my face. That is going to buy you that distance you need on a 35mm lens, so you can do selfies and get the environment, as I salivate, and you can get the environment around. I'm blabbing here. You can get the environment around you, right? One of the problems is if you don't go wide enough when you're doing selfies, like a 15 or 16mm on a full frame, or a 24mm on a full frame, a 35 starts to get a little narrow, right? But with a Switchpod, that 35mm is going to work. Now let me tell you, I said 35mm on a full frame, That's the equivalent of like a 23 millimeter on a crop sensor. So if you have a 23 millimeter lens on a crop sensor, that acts as a 35 millimeter on a full frame. And we're back to that problem. You have a 23 millimeter, it's not wide if it's on a crop sensor camera. You're gonna be holding it, right? And it's gonna be too close to your face unless you have this little gadget that pushes this out a little further from the hand and the face, right? So beautiful little plus. And that's really it for the pros. I mean, that's a lot of them, right? And so let's talk about the cons. I only had a couple of cons listed. Let's start with one that I wasn't even on here really. I just thought about it. It's price, right? Is this worth $100? Well, this is worth $20, and I'll talk about it briefly. It's not a product for this, but so you can compare and see what you get, right? What you're getting for $100. Personally, I think this is a great deal for $100. Is it a steal? No, it's not a steal. I think for $80, it would be a steal. And if they did discounts and things like that, this for $80 would be a complete steal. For $100, I think you're getting a very fair value for your money. This is an amazing tool, and I have very little bad to say about it. So it's not really a disadvantage. Some people are going to say that's $100 is too much for a little handheld thing. I don't need it as a tripod. I got other tripods. This is going to be a selfie thing. $100? Come on, Juan. I'll just put a wide angle lens on there that I can use for other stuff, even if I have to buy it, and I'm good to go. Well, if that's the case, or you already have a wide angle lens, right? Like I have an 11 to 22 for my crop sensor camera, and that acts as a, 16 to something, right? To 35 or 38. That's a good lens, and it has image stabilization. I might not need this thing, right? I might get away with this little guy, but not all my lenses are like that, and I don't always want to use that lens. So this is a good little gadget, gives you more flexibility and options. The other thing I was going to talk about here, we said this is slim, and that's an advantage. Well, the part that you mount your camera on is beautifully round. So you put something slim with a round thing at the end. Now it's not much bigger, it's probably a ½ inch wider. It's a ¼ inch on each side of the handle, this head, but it's another ½ inch. So when you put this in the bag, in that laptop compartment, and it's up against your back, you're gonna feel that bulge against your back, and it's not gonna feel very comfortable after 8 hours walking around the city or the woods. So they could have, I was sitting down looking at this, they could have made this flat along with the rest of this. Why didn't they? I'm not sure. Maybe they didn't think about it. Maybe there's a reason that I don't know about. I'm not going to judge them for that. I don't know, right? But that's one of the weaknesses that I saw. The first thing is, wow, this is really slim. It fits in my bag, but this head doesn't go all the way in. I have to push it in. And then when I zip it, this is a bulge where everything else is kind of nice and smooth and flat. So that's just a kind of dumb disadvantage, but you might be thinking about these things like I did. And so here's the last one, right? Here's where I introduced the Manfrotto for $20. This thing, very simple plastic design. It brings a little button over here that you squeeze really hard and you move this around. So if you put a camera here, you can tilt the camera down, up, you can do all kinds of things, right? This is $20, $25. This is $100, and it doesn't have anything like that. It's just a fixed mount. And this fixed mount, once you put the camera on there, it's gonna look. So if I put this on a stand and I open it up and I put the camera, it's facing forward. I mean, there's no up or down, right? If you're gonna use it for that, this is not the right thing to buy. You have two choices. Get something like this little guy where you can adjust the head, or put a ball head on here that you can adjust. Right now it's on the tripod that's filming this, and there's another one on another tripod, so I don't have any handy. But you put that ball head on here, and you can adjust that up and down, so when you have this on the table, you can move that around. Why is that a disadvantage? Because it's another piece of tool you have to carry. Now here's why it's not a really bad disadvantage if you're just doing selfie, if you're doing vlogs and stuff like that. When I hold this thing out, right, and I'm moving back so I can fit the whole thing in here. When I move this thing out, I have leeway in terms of how far forward and far back to hold it. And I'm looking at myself on a screen, right, because I'm doing a vlog. So I'm looking at it, and if I need to go further down, I just tilt it in. If I need to go further back, I tilt it. I can also drop my arm or raise my arm a little bit, right? So I have options with my body, right? We have that ability. So is it a big problem if we're doing vlogs? No, it's not, right? This is more a problem if you're doing vlogs because you're 3 feet from your face, you can't extend any further. You have that flexibility of moving around, but that's only going to be useful on the table. It's not going to be really useful here because you can move this all around, right? So that's why I wanted to bring this. I'm going to put the link in the description just in case you're interested in this. For the price, this is a wonderful little thing. I'm not going to talk about it in detail. I'm actually going to do a review on this. So stick around, look for that. And like I said, subscribe down below on your right and you'll see the review for this. It's a really cool little gadget. But talking about this Switchpod, let's end with the question. Is it worth it? Of course, I don't know how much you make. I don't know how much gear you have. I don't know how many tools like this you have. You might have another dozen of these. It may not be worth it. This may be your first selfie handle that's worth mentioning because all the ones are crappy, plasticky things that come with like your tripod. You buy a tripod and they include one of these little things in there that's worth like $5. If this is your first serious one, it's definitely worth it. $100 is not a bad price to pay for this. You're getting something that, unless you're flinging this at the wall over and over and over, this is gonna last a lifetime, okay? If you treat this with respect, like you treat all your other gear, your cameras, your lenses, this is gonna last a lifetime. Go to the beach, there's nothing to rust here. This is all aluminum and stainless steel. So what do? Give it a hose down, right? And then just let it dry and then put it away. Beautiful, beautiful piece of gear. You're gonna be very happy with this, I think. But like I said, I can't decide for you, right? I gave you the pros, the cons, you know what it's made of. It weighs a pound. I hope you can decide for yourself and that you make a good decision. And that you don't blame me if you make a bad decision. So overall, let me know what you think in the comments, if you think it's worth buying or if you think it's not. And let me know if you end up buying it. I'm going to include an affiliate link below. It means that if you go there and look at it and you decide to buy it from them, I'm going to get a little something. You don't pay a penny more, which is wonderful. You pay the price that you would normally pay if you go to any website because the price for these are pretty standard. So it's an affiliate link, and of course you are providing assistance to a fellow photographer and artist, and I do appreciate that. That said, this concludes the video. I hope you guys were drinking your water along the way. I hope you found this interesting, useful. Like I said, let me know what you end up doing, and I will see you guys in the next video. Please take care of yourselves. I want to see you back healthy and happy. I love you guys, and thank you. Ciao for now. You know what? I'm going to have to pause this video because I have to find out the specs for this thing before continuing to move on.